we need to do something. We have to stop taking on more. We have to lower the bar. We have to set boundaries. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to say no to some shit. We need to stop striving for perfection. We need to get into therapy. We need to get into energy healing, whatever your healing modalities are. We need to create spaciousness for ourselves. We need to forgive ourselves. And we need to be able to say out loud, I love more than anything in this world my children. And also parenting them rocks me to my core in ways that I could have never freaking expected.
Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high-achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life-altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freedom through a life unperfected. What is up, mamas? I am doing exactly that on today's episode. Normalizing the wild and wacky and wide range of normal and what it means to be a mother in today's society. So this is part 2 of the Messy Mama Moments series. The third episode that I ever released here on the Unperfected Pod was the Messy Mama Moments part 1. And I'm turning this into a series because let's just be real, it's an ongoing situation. It's an ongoing conversation that I want to have, shedding light on what it really means and looks like to struggle navigating this road of motherhood. And as a mental health professional, one of the things that I think is the most debilitating as a mom is sitting in silence and in shame over things that are happening with you, with your marriage, with your family, in your homes, and feeling like you're completely alone and isolated in it. Like no one else out there in the world is also struggling. No one else out there in the world is having a similar experience. And when we isolate like that, or when we believe that we're alone in our struggle, the shame amplifies. And oftentimes we have nowhere to go with that shame, so we internalize it. And that becomes things like a really negative inner critic where we're constantly criticizing ourselves and putting ourselves down, or just engaging in negative thoughts, or self-harming or self-sabotaging behaviors, or it can bubble up as anxiety, because anxiety can be other feelings that we're not allowing ourselves to feel. And shame, because of how yucky it feels, because of how heavy it is, because of how insidious it can be, that is so often a feeling we stuff down, which then can bubble up as other things. And so in this community that we're building here on the podcast and online, we normalize normal. We're not afraid to say out loud, hey, I'm a mom and I love my kids, but I'm struggling. There's a lot of things about this gig that are really hard, that are testing me to my core. Things are not perfect in my home. My children are not perfect. My marriage isn't perfect. My mental health is suffering. Because we want to create safe places to speak the truth. Because when we can speak the truth, we set the wheels in motion to begin healing. When we can feel heard and seen and accepted, even in the messiest parts of our lives, we can begin to transform these struggles. And at the core, every single human being wants to feel included, wants to feel normal, wants to feel like they're part of something and that they're not alone. And that's why the message of the brand is to normalize normal and find freedom in a life unperfected. Because when we can speak the truth about hard things, when we can engage in support to help ourselves, that is where the freedom lies. Not in crafting the perfect family, the perfect life, the perfect business, the perfect whatever. It's accepting all of our parts, all of the parts of our life, even the messy ones. That's where the real magic is. That's where the real magic lies. So I hope that I'm setting the tone, setting the example by bringing my messiest mama moments to the podcast so you can feel less alone. So I can move this shame and put it somewhere else, ridding it of my body and my mental psyche. So we can laugh a little bit about the freaking ridiculousness of it all, right? Like, I hope that this podcast gives you some relief in the way of humor, because it is so ridiculous. And a lot of times people think because I'm a therapist, you know, my mental health is great, or my marriage is perfect, or my kids. No, guys, we're just human beings walking this road with you, alongside you, sharing the message of the things that are helping us and maybe even hurting us just a little bit. So if you haven't already, make sure you go back to episode number 3, where I kick this series off and share the messy mama moments that were occurring back then, which was in February, March. And this is an update of what are the messy mama moments that are going on in my life right now here in August of 2023. So let's kick off with something that happened just last week, because you know what? This one, while it didn't take me by surprise whatsoever, I gotta be honest, it made me laugh and cry just a little bit. So, messy mama moment number 1 is having your daughter inform you that she likes daddy just a little bit more than she likes mommy. Okay, now this feedback didn't even come when I was like getting frustrated with her or trying to get her off to school or even correcting her or coaching her or any of that. It just randomly was a thought that she felt compelled to share with mommy on the way to school. We were having a perfectly fine morning. There were no meltdowns happening. We're on our way. We're listening to JoJo Siwa, and she just feels the need to share with me, Mommy, I think I like daddy just a little bit more than you. Are you effing kidding me? Listen, Queen, do I need to remind you of who fought for baby number 2 and how long I fought for baby number 2, or how long that 10-month pregnancy is, or how long you wouldn't come out in labor even though you were being induced, or how hard breastfeeding you was when I had to cut out dairy, soy, nuts, and eggs, or the fact that, you know, I take you to the swim lessons, I take you to the birthday parties, I make sure you have a social life, I take you to dance. Excuse the heck out of me, but you like daddy just a little bit more than mommy. And you guys, let me be clear. This is no family secret. Again, I should not be surprised. Daddy is gold in this house. Daddy does play with her on the floor, all her imaginary games. Daddy does bend over and give her whatever she wants. And listen, at the end of the day, I am so grateful that my daughter has a daddy like she does. Their bond is so special. And I hope that her self-worth is higher and her expectations in partnership later is higher because she has such an incredible and attuned daddy. But I can't lie and say it doesn't sting a little, and perhaps there isn't a little resentment when, you know, moms are what make the world go round, but we like daddy just a little bit more. So that's recent. That is just recently happening in our household. Messy mama moment number 2 is screaming at the neighborhood kids because they're hiding in your house and you can't find them and you got really scared. So this happened over summer. We were all at the park. The kids decided they wanted to come play at our house for a little bit. They ran home. We have a park like right in front of our house. They ran home. They beat me home. And when I came into the house, they were hiding. I couldn't find them. And at first it was okay. And I was just like, you know, Chloe, and like yelling their names, like not as intensely, just trying to find them. But I really couldn't find them for a minute. And then I ran out to the backyard. They're not in the backyard. I ran out to the front yard. They're not in the front yard. I run to the side of the house because there's a path. They're not there. Now I start straight panicking because it's not only my child I can't find, but it's several children that I can't find. And I am going to be honest, I went into a full-blown fight mode trauma response because I got really scared. So I came back in the house and I started screaming like a sociopath, Chloe, where are you? And they finally come running out of the closet and they're all lined up looking at me like deers in the headlights. And I'm like, you guys, it's not okay to hide from me. And in this moment, I'm like having this awareness that I'm shouting at children, and that's not really the mom I want to be. But I was so scared, you guys. So in that moment, I yelled at all the children, and then I calmed down. I sent the children home and stepped away from the situation so I could regulate. And then I came back to Chloe and talked to her about it more calmly and was just like, it's not funny, to hide. And she had said a friend had told her to do it. And even when they knew I was looking, they kept saying, let's keep doing it. Anyways, lesson for everybody in peer pressure, lesson for everybody in safety and communication, lesson for me that I still have triggers. And yes, as a therapist, I raised my voice at children. Not my proudest moment, but I'm going to be honest, I was really scared. And that's what it was. So, messy mama moment number 3 is helicoptering, straight spying on your children 24/7 when they're playing with others to prevent potential trauma that you are maybe hypervigilant around. Also known as hanky-panky. The I'll show you yours if you show me mine. Any of that, I am so hypervigilant and so scared that something's going to happen like that to the kids or to my daughter that I find myself sometimes like there was this moment where, I was spying on them in the room and I can hear everything they're saying and everything they're doing. And then they went outside on the trampoline and I was like running. This is how I knew it was more than just what a normal protective mother might experience. I was like running to the living room so I could hear and see everything that was happening every single minute outside on the trampoline. Now, my daughter is 6 years old, right? It's the having to overhear and oversee every piece that feels a bit trauma-informed or intense. It was the running. It was the running to the living room to be able to hear what was happening on the trampoline. The running also indicated we are a little extreme in this moment. And listen, like this is one of those really hard, delicate dances to do as a mom where you're trying to protect your children and prevent them from experiencing some of the trauma that you went through while also like letting them live and trusting that they're going to be okay. And yes, there's going to be hard things in their upbringing. And yes, there's going to be trauma that they experience and we can't predict and prevent every single one. And dancing in between the two while not knowing what's fully appropriate, while not knowing what is safe and how far we should take it. And, there's not one size fits all to parenting and protecting your children. And I feel like sometimes I'm just spinning trying to figure it all out. And some days I can do it better than others. And other days I just feel like a wild woman who's totally beyond helicopter parenting, just straight spying 24/7. And that is why I have to continue on this path of taking care of myself, of doing my work, of healing my stuff, of breathing and being present and making space in my day for meditation and breath work and yoga nidra and the 750 rituals I do to try to function as a human being in this world every day. I have to maintain that. This is why mommy's mental health does matter and why we need to pour into ourselves first. Because when I'm somewhat regulated, I'm not so extreme in my parenting. When I'm off kilter, when I'm not taking care of myself, when I'm more anxious than usual, I'm acting like a mad woman because I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to run to the park and make sure that I'm present every single minute and I can supervise what's happening. And so, yes, it's a dance between protecting your kids and giving them freedom and autonomy. And there is not a perfect blend and there is not a perfect mixture. I'm figuring it out alongside of you, but I know that I get extreme when I'm not regulated and I'm not taking care of myself. So there's another messy mama moment for you. On a lighter note, since we just went ahead and started straight in the deep end with the heavy stuff, you know how I do. We're not interested in small talk around here. Forgetting to order school pictures. Yep, that happens. This one's heavy. Your kid asking why you hate daddy. What do you mean? I don't hate daddy. I love daddy. He's my favorite, right? They're picking up on the mommy and daddy haven't had enough time to connect. So mommy's taking out her anxiety on daddy. Daddy's probably taking out his anxiety on mommy. Shit's getting weird in here. And Chloe's like, hey, why do you hate daddy? Yep, that happens. That's part of the wide range of normal. And the best part is when you're trying to convince them that you don't, you're also trying to convince yourself that you don't sometimes, right? In that moment when things are really hard. And can we just normalize how hard marriage is when you're in the throes of parenting? It's brutal. Like, first of all, relationships are designed to mirror to you all of the things that need to be healed. So in essence, relationships in general are triggering, and they trigger the deep core wounds of who you are. And also just the day-to-day stuff, the annoyances, and everything in between. And then you layer on top of that phenomenon just sharing responsibility around the house and the children and all the jobs and the things that we do with lack of sleep and lack of quality time and lack of connection and lack of intimacy. Yeah, it's going to get pretty feisty pretty fast. And our kids are extremely intuitive and sensitive and can pick some of this stuff up. So listen, when our kids are going, Mommy, why do you hate daddy? Don't shame the living shit out of yourself. Just use that as a reflection point to go, what of my needs are not being met and what of my partner's needs are not being met? And how can we connect to strengthen that so we're not living in this energy that our kid is picking up on and letting us know about? But also sometimes, guys, we're just hanging on for the ride the best that we can. And hoping for a better tomorrow, or that things will let up in a year from now or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, and that we will be able to connect again. And it's this dance of taking conscious action to connect with your partner while also accepting it's really hard and it's not going to be super sexy every day, right? It's both and everything in between. But what I don't want is for you to shame yourself and feel like you're a full-blown failure when your kid is picking up on the energy between you and your partner during what is the dog days of marriage, when we have small children that are extraordinarily demanding, right? So yeah, Mommy, why do you hate daddy? That's a messy mama moment that happens in our household. Wishing your children would just shut the F up. Just straight praying they will stop talking to you. That is also a normal thing that I experience. So my daughter is a genius. She's super smart. She's really brilliant. She's extraordinarily inquisitive. And boy, does she have a never-ending stream of consciousness coming out of her mouth. And particularly when I'm trying to do 3 other things at once, she tends to want to talk the most. And I just go into overdrive real fast. And I'm like, can everything and everyone stop talking to me? Stop talking at me. Too much stimuli. I'm about to break all the way down. So while I want my daughter to use her voice, I love that she has a lot to say. I love that she's so comfortable saying it to us. I love that she's inquisitive. I love how smart she is. Sometimes, honey, I just want her to shut up. That's also normal. That's a normal mom experience. Do not shame the crap out of yourself over that one either. This one's normal too, you guys. Crying while rocking them to sleep because you love them so much and you're so afraid you're fucking them up. I'm going to repeat that. Crying while you're rocking your children because you love them so much, and you're also so afraid you're fucking them up, right? So maybe you had one of those really hard days that just tested you, and maybe you like raised your voice and got short with them and shut down playtime early, or snapped at your partner, or snapped at your friend or whomever, and missed the bus on this and missed the deadline at work. And you just have, you know how you have those days where you just feel like a fucking failure at everything you're doing. You're like, I'm not winning in my self-care. I'm not winning in my marriage. I'm not winning as a parent. I'm failing at work. Like nothing is getting the best of me, and yet I'm fried. Like I have nothing more to give. And you just feel like this cannot all be done. Well, first of all, yeah, you're right. This cannot all be done. And this definitely cannot all be done with that bullshit level of perfection that you want it to be done with. It's impossible. But when you fall into that rocking chair at night, or you fall into your bed at night and you feel like an absolute failure because nothing is getting done at the level you want it to, and you acted outside of your best self, here is where I want you to show yourself a lot of grace and space. And here is where I want you to stop telling yourself that you are messing them up. Okay, you are doing your best. I know you are doing your best, and you are giving your kids so much. Attachment theory says that we need to get it right 50% or more of the time in order for our children to have secure attachment. What that means is, when our kids are hungry and we feed them, when they're crying and we hug them, when they have a need and we meet that need in a non-aggressive way, in a compassionate way, or in a loving way, in a regulated nervous system. If we meet our children's needs in a regulated nervous system just half the time, guys, our kids will have a secure attachment. And I know that we're getting it right more than 50% of the time. We are loving these babies. We are showing up for them. We are feeding them. We are hugging them. We are high-fiving them. We are taking them to their things and rooting for them and cheering them on. We are listening to their hard day. We are asking them how their day was. We are taking them places and giving them experiences. And are we getting it right all of the time? No. Are we in a regulated nervous system all of the time? No. Are we answering their questions with kindness and compassion all of the time? No. But if we're doing that half of the time, we are winning. And so even on that hard day where you're crying because you love that baby so much, but you fear you're fucking them up because you got triggered and you raised your voice, or you, whatever you did that you're not proud of, I want you to remember this 50% rule. And I want you to hear my voice in your ear say, you're doing enough, mama. It's okay. Cry it out. Love on that baby hard. And tomorrow's a new day. Let's get some sleep and let's set an intention for tomorrow. And we do, don't we? We show up tomorrow and we give our best and we give our all. And it will never be 100%. And that is okay. Because the fact that you feel like you're messing them up is exactly why you are the best mommy for those babies. And the fact that you want to get up tomorrow and try again is also why you are the best mommy for those babies. So you are enough, mommy. You are not messing them up. And all of our kids are going to have stuff because of us. Because life is hard. Because the world can be ugly. But you care, you're attuned, we have resources, like we're all gonna be okay. All right? So, it's gonna be okay. You are enough. Here's another messy mama moment that's been going on lately. Getting triggered by other people's kids and later really fearing what that looked like in your facial expressions or your body language and beating yourself up over that. So I definitely get triggered by other people's children. If they're really loud, if they're mean to each other, if they are, anything, right? I'm sensitive. And I try to remove myself as quick as I can because I know that I wear my heart on my sleeve and I wear my emotions on my face. It's really hard to not know what's going on in my head. So I'll get triggered by someone else's kids. I'll remove myself. And then later, I will beat myself up over what that may have looked like on my face or felt like in my energy, even though I wasn't the one acting out of line. I wasn't the children acting up. I wasn't the parents doing this or that. I wasn't, whatever I'm picking up intuitively about what's going on there. None of that is mine. And yet I feel so bad about the way that may have shown up. And so I beat myself up over it. And I just hope that, I hope the mom and dad didn't see my reaction to their kids and their parenting, or I hope nobody felt that, even though I'm sure they did. And maybe it's actually okay if they did, because maybe that was some feedback for them of like, I need my needs to be met. My husband and I need support, or my partner and I need support, or we need to get this kiddo into some counseling, or we need an evaluation, or we need some boundaries, or we need support is really the key message here. Because whenever I see that these things are happening, the first thing my heart goes to after the trigger makes its way through me is that the family needs support. I'm not judging you. I'm not criticizing you. I'm judging myself and criticizing myself. But the real sentiment is like, this family needs support somewhere. It's probably within the whole family structure. They need support. And we don't do a good job supporting families. We don't do a good job supporting mothers. We don't do a good job getting proper neuropsych testing for all children and giving support to those kids and those families, because the whole system is affected in these things. We don't give parent coaching. We have our own traumas and triggers that are informing our parenting. We don't make it easy for moms and dads to heal. We don't give them the support they need. We don't give families the support they deserve. So listen, families are out here struggling. And then I'm getting triggered. That's showing up on my face. And then I'm beating the crap out of myself that may have been felt by someone. So I don't really have an answer for all that because it's multi-layered. What I can do is take responsibility for myself and my energy and try not to let other people's energy get in, try not to internalize, try not to feel responsible for rescuing and repairing every single kiddo that I come into contact with and every single family, and continuing to do my work around my triggers and doubling down on my mental health coping skills and toolkit and just doing the work that I can continue to do. But boy, I get triggered out there in the real world, especially in the grocery store. Ew, whoa. Who else? Raise your hand if you get triggered in the grocery store. Oh my gosh, that has just become a playground for triggers for me. So I really need to find a time when there are no children in there, when there are no parents in there. I need to have blinders on and not be paying attention to anybody. I need to have earbuds in so I don't hear any screeches and cries and screams. Oh my gosh. Is this also part of getting older? I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm more sensitive to noises and sights and sounds and smells. It's like, you can't freaking take me anywhere. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Anyways, it's normal to get triggered by other people's children. It's normal to get triggered in the grocery store or the mall or the fair or anywhere where there's a lot of people. And also, let's normalize that we're getting more and more sensitive as we get older. I don't know if that's true, but that's true for me. It's normal to celebrate not having to communicate with your ex, your first baby daddy, once your kid goes to college. Hey, here's a win. Okay, let's normalize how hard it is to co-parent. If you are in a blended family, honey, you know exactly what I mean. Co-parenting and blended families is a whole new level of hard, is a whole new fucking beast. It's hard co-parenting with the partner of your children that you're with and love. It's really hard to co-parent with your ex who you don't love, who you low-key resent, or, you have trauma with or whatever. And you have to do that shit for 18 years. Listen, I made it through the 18 years. I have co-parented with someone for 20 years. I wrote a blog on co-parenting. It's on my website under the blog if you want my tips on how to do that. I will absolutely do a podcast on co-parenting. I will absolutely interview stepmoms because they're moms. And I want to hear from their experience because there is nothing more unforgiving and under-rewarded than a step-parent, right? If you're a step-parent, you are nodding your head and going, hell yes to this. But when Cam went to college, my communication, the necessary communication, cut down by like 80%. And I just have to tell you, honey, I celebrated that shit with my partner. We toasted to that shit because it's just less drama. And I am not here to bash my son's father at all. That's not what I'm doing. But it has been hard to raise my son with this person. We just have different parenting styles, different goals and ambitions in life, different struggles. We both have trauma. We both have similar ways that we handle and mask and cope with our trauma. We both love our kid fiercely though. And there's one thing I've never, ever had to question was the love that my ex has for our son and that he'll always be there. And so, that is at least something that I feel extraordinarily grateful for. I know there's a lot of you out there that don't get that support from your ex. Maybe you question if your ex even gives a shit. They don't show up consistently. Right? Those things happen. This person has always loved his kids fiercely and has always been in their lives. But there's been real sticky points, moments, episodes, periods that have been really hard. And in the beginning, it was really hard. It was really mean and it was vicious and it was fighting all the time. And oh God, I'm so glad we're not in that place anymore. We're not in that place anymore. Now, if there's something big, of course, we'll call each other. We're there for Camden's music performances. We're there for his graduation and his big moments. We will continue to be there for all of those things. It is hugs and respect and tears when we do. But the not having to talk to your ass in between, honey, hell yes. Bye-bye, sweetie. Take that and project it out onto somebody else. And, there's a ripple effect to that. Like not having to be in those conflicts positively now affects my marriage because, my husband would have to be the bystander to our stuff all these years. So just so many things are getting easier. And if you are on the co-parenting journey or in a blended family, I hope that this provides you a little bit of hope. First of all, let's normalize how hard that shit is. But secondly, it does get easier. About 3 or 4 or 5 years in, it started getting a lot better and a lot easier and a lot more respectable and cordial. And, it's gone up and down, but it never went back to how hard it was in the very beginning. And now here we are. Camden is 20. He's a junior in college, and we barely ever have to communicate. When we do, it's definitely cordial. We see each other, we hug each other. Like, we made it, y'all. We made it. And we'll never be done. We'll always be the parents of this child. We'll always be there for the big moments. But God damn, it's better for my mental health that I don't have to exchange words with this human being as much as I did when Cam was little. So, cheers to that. Here's another messy mama moment, saying bad words towards other humans while driving and having your kid give you on-the-spot feedback that, Mommy, that's not nice. Mommy, that's not nice. We don't say those words. And why is it that I have no control over what comes out of my mouth when I'm in the car? It's at home, I feel like I have better control over it. But on the road, man, those things, those judgments about other drivers, they just come right on out. They just flow. And usually there's an F-bomb or someone being called an idiot or something. And my daughter lovingly reminds me and coaches me on the spot that that's not kind words and we shouldn't talk like that. So if you get coached up by your children on your language, wide range of normal. Sorry, not sorry. She's got a mouth on her. Okay, what else is normal? What else is messy in my life? Eating McDonald's twice a week, okay? Chloe's got dance 2 times a week now. And on the way home, Mondays, we always do McDonald's because that is our longest day as a family. But sometimes, honey, we got to do it on Wednesdays too because I don't know what else to do. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I don't want to go home and put together a meal, even if it's just frozen chicken nuggets and ketchup. I don't want to clean up that dish. I don't want my husband to have to clean up that dish. I just want to go home and start the unwinding process. And so sometimes the fast food has to happen more than once, even if my intention was once. And listen, no shame or judgment if you're feeding your kids fast food 5 days a week. Once your kids start getting involved in extracurriculars, it's ridiculous. I don't see a solution. I see moms online posting what are your, go-to grab and go meals, and how are you food prepping on Sunday for sports and all that stuff. And I want to say props to you, mama, for having that intention, and props to those who are making that shit actually happen. But I can't commit to that regularly. Okay. I can't even commit to brushing my teeth at night regularly. Or even my daughter brushing her teeth at night regularly. So I sure as shit cannot commit to that. On top of packing her a damn bento box for lunch every day, right? Because her friend had a bento box, so now she wants a bento box. So now I'm having to get creative because she's picky and she doesn't like a lot of things with what the heck I'm going to put in the bento box. Okay, so we're already figuring out breakfast. We're already figuring out the bento box. We're already figuring out the snack. We're already figuring out all the social or special occasions. On top of that, we're figuring out a couple dinners a week. Beyond that, honey, I don't know. We're ordering in, we're ordering out, we're going through a drive-through, we're going to a restaurant. Okay, and some weeks it's more than 2 times a week. Let's keep it 100. Sometimes it's 2 times a week fast food and 3 times a week a restaurant. I'm just trying to survive over here, guys. So don't be throwing your shade and judgment at me. We're not worried about it being super clean eating and gluten-free and dairy-free and dye-free and all that, because first of all, my daughter doesn't eat any of that shit. She doesn't want the gluten-free, dairy-free, dye-free. Now, if your kiddo has been open to that and you're doing that, again, rock on, sister. I think that's amazing. I truly do. But my daughter, she's a little bit more picky. She's finicky. She don't like that shit. She won't eat either if you don't give her what she wants to eat. This is a new challenge. My son would have eaten anything. Chloe, she won't eat. And she's also tall and really skinny. So we need her to get calories. We need her to eat food. So I'm feeding her what she'll eat. And you can judge me all day long, but the queen needs calories, okay? And also, I'm just surviving. So if I need help with dinner 7 days a week, I'm going to do that. And I don't feel guilt about it anymore. I used to feel guilt about that. I don't feel guilt about that anymore. I'm actually just proud that I fed the damn children. I'm proud that oh my gosh, my daughter had breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack. I am killing the mom game, killing it. So if you're having to feed your kids fast food, if you're having to feed your kids frozen chicken nuggets, if you're having to eat out all the time, if you're not able to food prep, if you're struggling to get the vegetables and the protein in, I'm so with you and I understand you, and there's no shame in that game. This is what it's like to live in the messy mama moments. We're just doing the best we can. Wondering if you're the only one struggling this hard? I alluded to this or touched on this at the beginning of why I talk about my messy mama moments and reducing the shame around what is otherwise so freaking normal. You just don't realize it's normal because no one else is talking about it. So it's also very normal to, in really quiet moments, be wondering if you're the only one who sucks at this. If you're the only one who's struggling this hard. If parenting is this hard for you because something's wrong with you. You're just not good at this. I think we've all had a moment where we're wondering, am I just not that good at this? Am I actually not as good of a mom as I thought I was? Is this really not my calling and my purpose? Was I not designed to be a mom? Because I'm really struggling with this. It's normal to ask yourself, what is wrong? What is wrong here? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with our family? What is wrong with my parenting? What is wrong with our home? What is wrong with my marriage? You are not alone if you're questioning yourself. We have all been there in some area of our life. But this is why we need to talk about it. You are not alone in that. We all have self-doubt. We all wonder if we could be doing this different or better. We all wonder if we're messing our kids up. It's normal to have that experience. But when we say it out loud, our sister can go, oh my God, I'm struggling with that too. And just by saying it out loud, you move that stressor out of your body. You eliminate shame around it. And then you can join in community and talk about it and support each other and even laugh through it, but also say, oh my God, okay, you're struggling. You think your kiddo might be neurodivergent. I have a referral for you. You're struggling in your marriage. Me too. Let's normalize that. You feel like you're failing as a parent. Let me tell you where I'm failing. And we can know that we're not alone and we can help each other. We can set intentions. You're losing your marbles on the weekend. Let's do a child swap, or let's let them come play at our house for half the day and then play at your house for half the day. You need a mommy's night out? I got you, girl. Let's go to happy hour on Thursday or that dance class on Wednesday night. If we sit in silence, the shame perpetuates all of our struggles. We bury that emotion. That emotion is an energetic storm brewing. And it bleeds out into other areas of our life, whether it's anxiety, anger, rage, self-deprecating habits and thoughts, self-harm. Autoimmune. Did you guys know that it's women who has the autoimmune? Why is that? Because we do more shit, we have more stressors, and we repress our emotions because we're not allowed to complain about how hard this thing is without fear of being judged a bad mother. We're not allowed to be angry because, oh, an angry woman is so terrible and scary. We're not allowed to talk shit because we need to mind our manners. So if you haven't yet, you should get the book, The Myth of Normal by Dr. Gabor Mate, where he presents the research that shows that women take on more than our male counterparts, and we repress our feelings about how hard it is, and that is why we have all the autoimmune diseases. Do you know any men who has an autoimmune disease? So we have got to stop repressing our emotional experience. We have to start moving these emotions out of our body by journaling them, by going to therapy, by speaking up, by taking care of ourselves. And that's how we move these feelings out so we don't repress them and they become ailments in our body. This isn't just about feeling better for the moment. Yes, that's important because it's going to allow us to be more conscious in our parenting and in our lives. This is also about being a healthy human being. We can't take care of our families if we're sick, and we're sick because we're not processing emotion. So we need safe places to say out loud, I'm struggling. I have this issue. And we need our sisters to rally around us and say, I see you and I get it. And I am not judging you. I'm also struggling here and here and here and here. How can we support each other? Where can I show up for you in your life? Where can I make your load a little bit lighter? Where can we carpool? Where can we laugh at it? What do we need here? We need more and more safe places to do that. And that's why I'm creating the community I'm creating online in the Mommy's Mental Health Matters Facebook group. That's why I created this podcast. That's why Mommy's Mental Health is my passion project. Mental health is the bigger thing, the bigger purpose. And having a voice, using my voice and my style and the way that I do it to normalize mental health and to help people with mental health. But the Mommy's Mental Health is my passion project because we have a tendency to do more and do more and do more and stuff our experience of how hard that is. And it's making us unwell. You know, that's why I started this to begin with, is I was observing this parallel. The rise in the expectation of the modern working mom was paralleling our rise in our mental health conditions. In general, the population has 25% more anxiety and depression post-pandemic. Women have 41% more. Again, we're beating the men out with our mental health issues, so we need to do something. We have to stop taking on more. We have to lower the bar. We have to set boundaries. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to say no to some shit. We need to stop striving for perfection. We need to get into therapy. We need to get into energy healing, whatever your healing modalities are. We need to create spaciousness for ourselves. We need to forgive ourselves, right? And we need to be able to say out loud, I love more than anything in this world my children. And also parenting them rocks me to my core in ways that I could have never freaking expected. And that doesn't make me a bad mom that I speak the truth about that out loud. And when I can rid my body of this shame, rid my body of this stress, rid my body of this repressed emotion and trauma and resentment, guess what? Guess who benefits? My kids. Guess who benefits? The world. Guess what benefits? Our businesses, our clients, all the things that we care about. And that's why I do the work that I do. So mamas, you are enough. You are doing enough. Embrace your freaking messy. Shed the shoulds and let's normalize the wide range of normal. I hope you found yourself in a speck of my stories today so you can feel less alone. And may you join us in the Mommy's Mental Health Matters Facebook group and share your messy there, because we will not judge you. We will laugh with you. We will cheer you on. We will show you support. We will make sure you feel heard and seen and understood. And may you also know that this journey was supposed to be messy. It's not that you're bad or you're wrong or you're doing it wrong. You're doing it right if it's this hard. So I love you so much. Please take care of yourselves and therefore each other. I hope you enjoyed this Messy Mama Moment Part 2. There will be a Messy Mama Moment Part 3 because there is always a Messy Mama Moment around here. And I'll see you. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to the Unperfected Pod. I hope this episode helped you feel a little less alone and a little more inspired to be you. If you like what we're doing here, I would so appreciate that you subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. If you do, share the episode on Instagram and tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected to enter to win a 1-to-1 laser coaching session. Also, feel free to join me in my private Facebook community, Mommy's Mental Health Matters, where we continue the conversation. Thanks again for being here and see you in next week's episode.